The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this? And good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Monday. I'm your host for today. I'm Pedro on this. Give me a second.
Let's get ready to rumble!
It's Monday, y'all. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Coffee Time with Blind United. I am not Ed Davis, obviously. And we have Pedro and Monica. Good morning, Monica.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday.
And good morning, everybody. Sorry for the loop back. Yeah, so I'm waking up on Monday with a nice coffee. I hope everybody out there has a coffee, tea, whatever it may be. If it's warm milk, because it's cold out there. The weather has changed, but we get a little more into that. Today, interest group for tonight. One of our popular groups, a support group with Dominic. Always has a good topic. Always provides resources after the meeting. If you'd like to join that, that's info@blindunited.org. You could get in our email list and come join us in all these different groups that we do. It's free to the community.
Yeah,
but Dominic
it is.
puts his work in. He puts his
he
work
definitely
in.
does. And tonight's topic is the self-worth theory, so that should be interesting, I don't really know anything about that, but I'm pretty sure it'll be interesting. It always is. It always makes you think about yourself and your childhood and how you were raised, and it's always definitely food for thought. So come in and hang out with us. 6:00 tonight.
PlayStation time, guys. PlayStation time. And for those old heads, that's Pacific Central. I mean Pacific time. Pacific Central. Wow. But yeah, so let's move on with our conversation. My weekend was great. It was good. Celebrated one of my friend's birthday. We was out there hanging out with him and things like that. Me and my better half, right, Monica? You had a good time or what?
Yeah, it was good. Just cold, but yeah, I had a good time.
And you, Britt, how was your week? Your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. It was pretty chill, thank goodness. I can't complain. So what are our topics for today, Pedro?
Well, I was gonna touch on Dias de los Muertos. It was over the weekend. It was on Saturday on November 2nd. And Dia de los Muertos is a very popular day within the Latin community. It's the day we celebrate the spirits, the people, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our uncles, cousins, whoever it is. We celebrate that spirit. We light up candles. We even have different type of necklaces with the little skulls and the nice art on it. Man, they have festivals down here in San Diego down here. Fortunately, I didn't got to go. Plans changed in the last minute. But man, they have a whole show out there. They got shops where you could go shop for little things and stuff like that. Also on that day, people go to the cemetery and spend the day with their loved ones, with their mothers, and other things like other people like that were family. They put roses and flowers and clean up clean up the area, make it look all nice, and celebrate their life, because only because they're not here, we can't, we should still celebrate their life, celebrate their memory, all that good stuff. So it was a day of remembrance for those that have passed, for those that still have a place in our heart. So, that's a day that got celebrated on the second. I saw so many different videos on like TikTok and things like that.
And a lot of people get into that. I've seen some boards like they usually get like a poster board or something like that and put pictures and just different things. But some of those people get really into it. I know one of my best friends, she done one and she had different pictures and um it's amazing. They take them to at one of the cemeteries. I don't, it's in Los Angeles somewhere, but they go and they have a big celebration with bands. People are walking around with their boards and it's a big celebration in the Latin community, that day. People put food like by the headstones and stuff, like oranges and drinks and stuff right there to celebrate their life. So it's a really big day in the Latino community that day. Um, I was supposed to be in San Diego this weekend for the celebration, but unfortunately we couldn't go. But I wish I would have been able to attend. I've never been there, but I think in downtown San Diego they have a big celebration. So maybe next year.
Yeah, and they also you have people that they get into it and they paint their face with the face paint and all that,
Hmm.
and and they celebrate and they dance to the drum beats and all that, and even in Mexico and El Salvador and other Latin countries and stuff like that. So it's a it's a day to remember those, the energy in the air, celebrating those spirits that have passed, that are not longer with us.
Hmm. Did you know about that day, Britt?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff on the news. I think that it's awesome. I mean, I
Hmm.
saw that there was a big thing in like downtown LA, like in Alvera Street and at other
Yeah.
random cemeteries, throughout Southern California. So, I do know a little bit about it, but not a lot. Like I
Uh,
know about the altars and leaving out food for the loved ones, but I don't really know a lot about it.
hmm. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and the Spanish movie made by Disney. What's it called? Coco or something like that?
Yeah, Coco.
Mm-hmm.
That
Sorry,
was a
excuse
cute
me.
movie. It was the time that I did. I don't know if have you guys seen it? Well, you have kids, Pedro, so you've probably seen it.
Yes, I seen it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. With a child going to the land of the dead, on the other side, and has a whole adventure trying to reach his great great uncle, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. And Thomas from Colorado said good morning. So good morning, Thomas, and thank you for listening.
Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas.
We were starting to watch it on Saturday in Spanish, but I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I couldn't really see what was going on, but we were watching Coco in Spanish on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. That's what my head found my mom. She was over here, so we was watching it. I put it on for her. Cause she loves like the cartoon movies. She loves the kids movies. When she was young, they didn't have all that. She actually where was the way where she comes from is no TV, one light bulb in the entire house type stuff, not plumbing. So it's like a third world living that she came from to over here. And she enjoys those movies. She loves to see the kids' movies because she didn't get to see them as a child. You know, and that movie touches on Day of the Dead. It's about a boy that he wants to be a singer, and he's a great singer too at that. You know, but he goes through an adventure. A good movie. I never knew. I seen it in English, but in Spanish it makes way more sense. I don't know why, but it flows better. I feel. You know.
Well, I think a lot of stuff, sorry for cutting you off, but some of the stuff, like if it's said in Spanish, is something different. Because I know people when they say some jokes in Spanish and you try to translate them into English, it's not the same, you know? And so it's not as funny as it is, when they try to put it into English to say stuff. So that's how some movies are as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I have a question for Pedro since you're bilingual. Do you think your personality, like when you speak to people in Spanish and then when you talk to people in English, is different? Because people say, like, oh, I'm more expressive in Spanish, or like my jokes are different, or just, I don't know. Do you get what I'm like asking?
Yeah, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. Well, if I talk like in English and I'm talking like that, and I switch to Español, some people like se le cambia toda la voz. I could kind of stay within the tone. Some people get higher up and they start talking, hey, tú, ¿cómo estás tú? You get what I'm saying? I like to slow it down though, but Monica's right. Like certain ways the words are phrased in the order they are, it's not the same order and phrase within English. So sometimes translations get miscrewed depending on the translator, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, that totally makes a lot of sense. And I'm pretty sure, like, yeah, you're right, because words are just in a different order and there's just different sayings and like it's just different. So that makes sense.
Well, for him, I know when we're out in public and I want to ask a question or I need something or whatever, and they speak Spanish, I tell them say it in Spanish. I don't know, for some reason, if it's whatever language you speak. If I have a lot of friends that are African and stuff, and I know if I were to ask a question, they would give me the answer. But if somebody that knew their own language asked them the same question in their language, it would get more, I guess, response, whatever. So when we're out, I always tell Pedro, "Oh, tell that guy in Spanish," and I'm not saying it always works, but a lot of the time it does, because I guess they probably feel more comfortable. I don't know what it is, but all the time, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, and it could be a little bit of the language barrier that that person might not know how to convey or
Hmm.
hear the comment coming across. Because let's say you talk somewhat Spanish, and the other person is completely talking Spanish. If you say it to English, it might not register per se. Sometimes Spanish people, when they read the street signs and stuff like that, they might read it like, let's say, for example, I know someone that the street name is Prairie, but she calls the street Pryler. And I was like, why Pryler? And we almost got lost for like almost an hour until I told her, spell this street name. And it was Prairie. And I was like, that's the street we need. But because the language in Spanish, the letters, each letter has one sound, except a couple of them. I think like two of the other letters have different vowel sounds, right? But this one in Spanish is espe, and that's how you spell it out too. So it's easier for me in Spanish than English sometimes too, though. Even though English is my first speaking language, that's the one I feel comfortable with. But this person was spelling it out and sounding it out just how the letters sound. So it was funny. It was funny after. But at the time, the language barrier and you know what I mean, and me not being able to see and stuff, they were saying the street name wrong, and we're literally on the right location. It's just, you know, the language barrier from the person knowing English and not knowing the word in English, almost got us lost. But yeah, sometimes even the music, get a song in Spanish, guys, and get it translated into English, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Because it's kind of backwards, right?
Yes, depending on the saying and what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give an example if you know one.
Hold on. Keep talking. Let me think of one.
Okay.
Well, speaking of Spanish, we have an interest group every second and fourth Thursday, and that's Let's Talk Spanish with Jesus Bautista. So you'll learn your vowels and your alphabet sounds, A, B, C, D, all that stuff. I mean, it's basically conversational Spanish, and it's helpful, I mean, it's a good thing to do. I think it would be fun. Maybe we could talk to Mr. Bautista about this, but maybe we could like find some songs and translate them into English, or like he can tell us what the meanings of songs are. Like, I think that would be a fun way to learn a different language. Like, I know I've talked to people who like Spanish was their first language, and they've said that, oh, the way that they learned English was by watching like different shows in English. So I don't know, maybe that would be a fun way to learn Spanish. I don't know.
And that's funny because I've heard people who learn Spanish watching the novelas, the Spanish soap operas. That's how they learn Spanish.
No, I've also heard that as well. To
Yeah.
me, I mean, I don't know. I guess because I'm blind and I can't really see. I honestly I can't see the TV at all anymore. But like, Spanish sounds so dramatic to me. Like the novellas. I don't
They're
know if it's
hard.
because I can't see or because they really are just overly dramatic.
hmm I guess it's the certain tone, because I know like sometimes when I'm somewhere and there's a lot of Asians, I think they're mad, but that's just the way they talk. You know what I'm saying?
No, that I agree. Like, to me,
Yeah.
Chinese sounds very serious. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that Chinese is a very tonal language. Like, they can have one word and like the different tone of it means different things.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. All the times that I've heard Chinese spoken, it does sound like serious, like they're having a business negotiation, but they may be having a just a regular conversation.
Yeah, I kind of like, man, I wish I knew what they were talking because sometimes they talk super fast and I'm all, are they mad or are they I don't know. It's just crazy because the way they talk, a lot of them. I'm not saying everybody, so I don't want nobody to, but a lot of times when they're talking, they talk super fast and it's just like I don't understand if they're mad, if they're, you know, saying something mean, I don't know, or they're
Well,
happy, I don't know.
yeah, well, it's the same like in Spanish regions, and then over there, those regions. For example, in Spanish, the Mexican people from Mexico talk a little more slower, and the people from Salvador talk a little faster. And then people from Puerto Rico, they have a certain sound they how the way they talk too,
Mhm.
and their little slang words and stuff like that. And then even Nicaraguans and things like that. So, I could see that in that region, some might sound like talk faster, but it might sound like they might be mad to us and stuff like that because they're probably talking all extra fast,
Well,
you
there's a
know.
big difference in their language from Puerto Rican to Salvador and Mexico and stuff.
Well,
I
the
think
dialects, yes,
yeah, the
different
dialects are
dialects.
different. I think like Puerto Ricans, the ones I know are kind of like Latin, African, dialects combined. That's how, some of the Puerto Ricans I know and stuff. So to me, it's kind of like a mixture.
Yeah, and then you got the Cubanos.
Yeah, so everybody, all the dialects are different. Even in Africa, growing up, I didn't know that all those um were all countries. They weren't. I thought they were cities, growing up, and they all have different dialects in their countries.
Hmm, hmm.
So that's the thing too. It's like right next door, but it's a different dialect, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, even I think even state to state here in the United States, I know when we go different places, they'll be like, "Oh, you from LA?" And I'm like, "How
That's
do
so
you
funny.
know?" Everywhere you go, "Oh, you from California, LA, huh?" What? Yeah, y'all all sound the same, you know?
Yeah.
I
Well,
get
even I guess we don't realize it, but even our dress, in the early 2000s, I used to go to Virginia. They knew right away I wasn't from Virginia because I would dress, with my Levi's and my jeans and my Converse and yeah, a t-shirt, and everybody always knew I wasn't from Virginia. And then I asked the lady one time, like, how did you know I wasn't from Virginia? And she's all, it's because your oh my God, I can't believe it just slipped my mind. My uh,
your way of being or
no, like my when you talk a certain way, your not dialect, but
your language, the way you speak.
it's I forgot there's a
Your
certain word.
accents, maybe?
Yeah, my accent. She's all, you have a strong accent. I'm all, I have a strong accent? I don't think I do.
Well,
I'm all like,
Monica, you do have an accent. Like, you saying that you don't speak Spanish,
hmm
you have an accent to me. Like, I think that you're bilingual by the way that you pronounce your words.
yeah, yeah. But they knew right away. They're all like, you have a strong accent. And I'm
You
all like, I
do.
don't think I do. And I remember in the early 2000s, my cousin, right? She has moved up like 3 hours from here, from Los Angeles. And my cousin's light skinned, blonde hair, green eyes, and they knew right away she wasn't from up there. They're all like, you're not from here. And her of all people does not have no accent at all, but they knew right away. It's crazy. And she used to get picked on when she was in high school because they said like she wasn't from there, but she was born out here and then she moved while she was in high school up there, and it was like past Bakersfield, and they knew right away that she wasn't from there. But she doesn't sound like she has any sort of accent at all. Like,
Yeah, my little niece and nephew, they moved
hmm
over there to another state in the Middle East over here in the United States. They moved like that way, right?
hmm
Well, their friends is like, "Oh, so you from LA? Have you ever been to Compton?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, we've been to Compton." So they're like, "Oh, you been to Compton?" Yeah, like, come on. It was funny when my nephew and niece was telling me, and they're like, "Yeah, they be telling us." And their mom goes, "No, y'all never lived in Compton. Y'all passed by Compton." you know, because me and my sister, we grew up in L.A., South Central for those who want to know. So my sister was like, y'all didn't grew up around South Central and Compton. Yes, y'all grew up in LA. And my sister puts them in their little place, but they'd be like, yeah, yeah, we've been to Compton.
hmm
So little areas like LA, sometimes I guess people in other areas be like, oh, and they were like, yeah, people would like to know over there the area and how it is and stuff like that. Even when I used to travel to El Salvador, I have cousins over there that they learned English by watching the TV. That's how they did it over there. They knew broken English, but all do they speak it. Even they get it they be getting some of the music, not all, but what I don't know how it is now. This is back in the early 2000s and 90s, but they love our culture over there. It, you know.
So, do you want to talk about the thing that's been happening this weekend
Well, what? Say that again?
with the parades and stuff?
Oh no, we come to that after the break. The break's coming up in a little bit. We could continue
Wait,
Talk-
before we go to a break, I want to know, what does English sound like to somebody who doesn't know it? Like, I mean, I don't know if Spanish was your first language, Pedro, but like, has anybody ever told you, like, what is it? Because like to me, Spanish used to just sound really, really, really fast. And like now that I know some words, I'm like, okay, I can tell when a sentence ends, begins, whatever. But like, to you guys, what is it? I mean, has anybody ever told you, like, what does it sound like when you don't know the language, like English?
Yeah. Well, you know how I tell you I prefer English. Well, my first language was Spanish, of course, because coming from parents that immigrated across, that's what you know, we grew up in. Just like how I didn't really had what was it?
Yams.
I never had yams. All this time celebrating Thanksgiving, being from a mother that immigrated over here, we didn't know the proper things. We done turkeys, but they were like whatever. And so usually we do our native food from over there, and we celebrate it that way. I never really had the yams and cornbread and all this stuff that Americans do during like Thanksgiving. So last year was my first time having yams after what, 40 years of being over here. But I, I I would believe Spanish, you know, depending on, because it's like when someone speaks like Chinese, you might hear it going fast, but they might be breaking those words into different uh uh sounding it out. You know how he breaks by syllables or something like that. Oh man, I'm blanking on the word right now too. Oh wow. But you might think that those little breaks means each another word, but those breaks might be in a whole long word, and stuff like that. So you can never dictate on what's going on. But to me, when I hear a different language, I'm like, you know, and stuff. But yeah, you gotta practice, man. You gotta practice your languages too if you want to get better at it. Otherwise, you will forget some words and stuff like that. But I don't know. English. I always known English since like I was 5. Well, Sesame Street taught me English.
So, Britt, you were born visually impaired, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but do you see color?
Yeah.
You do? No,
Yeah.
because some of the questions I always like think of and stuff is it's if you never seen a color, like how do you explain that to someone? You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for me to uh ex- I guess have detail or express or when somebody's asking me what color it is. Like how do you do it?
You know what? Oh my gosh, I have a lot to say about this, but we literally are at the half of the hour almost. So maybe Pedro, I don't know if
Well,
you
let me
want
run a
to.
commercial if we
Okay.
could answer
Okay.
that, so we
Okay.
could stay a cool long while on that.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United. Did you know that people in third world countries do not have access to canes? The You Cane Give initiative gives canes to people all over the world who cannot get canes. The You Cane Give initiative not only goes to these countries and gives people canes, but they give people canes and a digital recorder that is solar powered that has instructions on how to use the cane and instructions on how to repair the cane. The You Cane Give initiative is a very worthy cause, giving canes to blind people all over the world. If you have a cane that you're no longer using or cane that's broken or bent, you can go to youcanegive.org and get a shipping label, and you can ship your cane to Jimmy in Tennessee, and he will refurbish it and give your cane to a blind person in a third world country. That website again is youcanegive.org.
All right. And if you want another fun way to give to the You Cane Give initiative, you can go to customcane.com and get you a cane. They sell canes and cane accessories. It's your one-stop shop place for everything cane.
Yeah. So that's also Custom Kings with a K, right, Britt?
Yes, it is.
And for more information on that, info@blindunited.org. Also, welcome George. Welcome. He knocked on our door. I just let him in. Welcome to the studio.
My customer rescheduled. So is that Miss Britt? Is that burrow shrimp, baked shrimp?
Yes,
shrimp?
we got aluminum canes, we got aluminum graphite, we got graphite, we got I don't know.
We got canes to give, guys. Canes to give. So hey,
Good morning,
custom,
George.
¿Cómo estás todos? I'm sorry I'm late. And I know people told me it's rude to jump in halfway, but my customer rescheduled.
No, we're just happy to have you, George. We were having a deep conversation about blindness, and to answer, okay, Monica. So I have a lot to say about what you were saying. Like for me, it's hard to see colors. Like black and dark blue look the same, or like red and orange. So. I mean, as somebody who's always been visually impaired, a lot of visual things are very abstract to me. Like when I'm in the car with somebody and they say like, "Oh, I can see snow on the mountains." Like my brain can't comprehend that because I've never seen it. If that makes any sense. Or like for me, it doesn't make sense when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I walked by a house and the windows were open and I can see inside the house." I've never been able to do that, So for me, like it just like my brain just can't comprehend.
Excited people got superpowers, I swear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
They got superpowers.
for me, that's how it is. I mean, I had sight all the way till, I'm considered, I guess, a high partial. I had my sight all the way to 2014. But it's hard for me to explain a color to somebody who's never seen color, Like me, I get confused. Like you said, brown, purple and blue look the same. Believe it or not, yellow and pink look the same to me. I have a Hello Kitty shirt, and I always forget what color it is. And I always have to ask somebody, what color is this shirt again? But yellow and pink are two totally different colors, but I always get them confused. So that's what I'm saying. For me, it's kind of hard, even being visually impaired, to explain a color to somebody who's never seen color. Because I remember in 2014, when I started going to Braille Institute, somebody asked me what an orange was. And I'm all, what do you mean what an orange was? And they're all like, yeah, what does it look like? And I'm thinking in my mind, it's orange. But if you've never seen it, how do you explain orange to somebody? Or how do you explain an orange to someone,
Miss
But
Monica,
So that always like gets me confused because I don't know how to explain it right,
Miss
Go
Monica,
ahead, George.
it's a concept which you're correct. So I don't know if this will make sense, but when I was going to UTEP, and I went to my first class in philosophy. So I'm sitting in the front row because at this time I could see, right, even though I had
Mhm.
real thick glasses. So I'm sitting in the front row, and the lady walks in, and she's like, "My name is Doctor whatever." I forgot what it was, and then she touches the table. She goes, "Okay, guys, so you see this table?" And we're like, "Yes." She goes, "But is the table really here?" And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "What color is it?" And we're like, "Brown." She goes, "Well, is it really brown?" And your mind is brown, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, is this chip drug? But it makes sense in the concept of blindness because a friend of mine, he was born, from birth blind,
Mhm.
And I've told the story before. So I'm out in the front yard and I tell him, hey, Charles, your tree looks like it's dying. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, the bark is real bright. It's real, light, and it's falling apart.
Mhm.
And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, tree, George, I don't know what a tree looks like. And I turned to him like, what do you mean a tree? And I'm like, wait a minute, you're right. He goes, yeah. He goes, I could feel it, the shape, but I don't know how it looks like. And I'm like, so when we were talking more, he's like, George, like the number 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. I don't know how that looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a trip, right? Because we take that for granted, right? Me and Miss Monica. I know Miss Britt, she has some vision, but still, when you don't have that vision from birth, and you say red or like, that's a nice red shirt. You're like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean by
Yeah,
red?
but think about this. Let me blow your minds right quick. All right, you know how you say you see a black shirt or a red shirt, and you say that's a red shirt. It's not actually red. The thing is, it's reflecting the red off of that material, and it seems red to us, but it's not. It's like black. It's not black. It's all the colors together, and that's what's bouncing off. Is to us it looks black, but it's not.
I hear you.
Yeah, and then
That's what
all those
philosophy is
colors.
about. Like,
Hmm.
they say you see something, like it's perception, right? And like in like our house, I'll give you a perfect example. My wife says the house is red,
Mhm.
or she says salmon, but everybody that sees it like that's like a light red or orange or good. And my wife says no, that's a salmon color. But like you just said, Pedro, it's perceptions. So it kind of goes into, and then I don't want to go off the deep end here with philosophy, but with your life experiences, it's like when you say like shrimp, right? And I know I'm going a little bit off turn, but just to kind of give context, I don't like shrimp, the way it smells, and but people that love shrimp, my wife loves shrimp, right? It's just because of the way she thought of shrimp when she was young, and when it comes to us who are blind, like Miss Monica was saying, orange. What does that really mean? Like even like what you said, Pedro. Like yeah, it might be orange to you, but to me, it might be yellow because I'm colorblind,
I
or it
mean,
might
I
be.
think that colors maybe just are empty words to us. It's just, it's a sighted world, and it's like, okay, you say it's orange, it's orange. You say it's red, it's red. Like that's kind of my way of thinking about it. And from talking to people who have been totally blind their whole lives, or like, oh, colors are like feelings, like not feelings, but like, oh, blue is like a calming color, or like the color of water, or whatever, you know what I mean, or the sky. I don't know.
But
So do you think it's
Miss,
Go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Not gonna say what's that saying they always say back. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Kind of go with
Yeah,
what Pedro
yeah.
says, right?
But I
Well,
think being blind. Oh wait, you can go, Monica.
no, the only reason why I'm asking is because I'm in an art class, and like I'm trying to explain something to somebody who has been blind since birth, and they were trying to figure out what a cloud looks like. And I was like, a cloud? And I'm all like, wow. I mean, I can't say it's white. So I was just trying to show her like with the cotton ball, but
Mm.
is that really what it looks like? No, not really. But I didn't know how to explain it. And I
I
was trying to
think.
help her with
Hmm.
her art project, but it's hard because I've seen colors before. And for somebody who's never seen it, I kind of like it amazes me when it's like, how do they do it? Like, man, how? Like
Yeah.
we take for granted that we have seen before. But a lot of people who are visually impaired or totally blind have never seen color before. So to me, that's like, it trips me out because I'm like, how do you explain something to somebody?
Yeah,
You know?
I get your point too, and it's not how. Okay, when the person says, "Well, how a cloud looks like,"
Mm-hmm.
you might have to with the cotton balls, right? You could be like, "Look, I'm gonna put a couple cotton balls together. This is not how the cloud feels, but it looks something similar, like clumps of, That's how it looks. Like why? I know you can't say white, but you could say, well, the colors so it's white sometimes, but they look like puffy little marshmallow looking things in the sky. You know what I mean?
I have a joke.
Yeah,
What?
but then what is puffy to them?
Uh,
But the cotton ball is puffy a little. Well, I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Like,
see your
like,
dilemma. I see your dilemma.
is it
Go ahead,
like
George. We need a
Puff?
joke.
Is it like Puff Daddy?
Oh,
No,
Oh my
I'm not going
gosh.
there. I'm not going there. But
You know what it makes me think of? In philosophy class, I think it was like this thing that I read where it's like 5 blind people touch an elephant, and one person is like, "Oh, it feels like a snake. It's long," and another person's like, "Oh, it's tough," and another person is like, "Oh, it feels like this." You know, it's kind of they're feeling different parts of it, and they can't see the whole picture, so they're just describing the little part of it that they're feeling. I don't know.
well,
It's just it's
well,
even now, Miss Britt, now that where my vision is, there's sometimes I misinterpret what I hear. Right. For example, this morning I was telling my wife, one of the dogs was trying to jump on the bed because I heard something, and she's like, "No, so it was in the bathroom with me." But like I said, it just now that we can't see, we have to use our hearing. Now think about this, being born with no blind, no vision. So it's kind of weird, right? For example, if at one time my right ear, it started clogging up, and I had gone to a friend of mine, well, Mr. Bautista. So my wife dropped me off. I'm walking towards his house, and he's like, "George, come towards my voice." So I hear him, so I'm walking towards his voice. He's like, "Odele, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Well, you're going out to the garage." I'm like, "I'm walking toward your voice." He goes, "No, you're not." But what it was, my ear was clogged, and it threw my GPS off. Right, so I'm interpreting what I'm hearing, but it's just weird, right? Because before I could just look and walk towards whatever, right? But now we have to use our secondary, well, not secondary, our other
senses.
senses,
well,
and it's weird sometimes.
But George, I do have a friend that's blind and he's deaf from 1 year, and that makes him more disabled in a way because you could say this way, right? Come towards my voice. It's like telling a blind dude,
Walk straight.
yeah, right there. It's like telling a blind dude right there. Because when you say follow my voice and you only hear through a mono, not
Mhm.
stereo, you know, you don't know what direction that sound's coming, if it's coming from left or right. It's just coming in. That's it. It's only
A
one
quick,
channel. Think about it in those terms.
quick word to those who are listening or watching. So yeah, good point there, Pedro. When you give someone that's blind directions, folks, don't say, "Oh, right in front of you," or "Over there," and point. Don't do that because they're like, "Okay."
I
It
do that
happens a
sometimes.
lot.
I'm not gonna lie, George. I'm not gonna lie, but and I'm visually impaired, but then I have to stop and think about it. But um uh, okay, being visually impaired, like you guys are both total, but is there certain things that bother you now? Because for me, like, okay, for example, I've been having a lot of injuries on my arm, whatever, and they want me to do an MRI. Now I don't like that stuff. I don't even really like going in elevators. I don't like doing those MRIs because I can't see good, and it just throws me off, and nobody understands. And I hate doing those MRIs, and even elevators. I've never was claustrophobic as bad as I am now, and it's
You
just
know what
like,
it is? Can I speak on this real quick?
sure. Hmm.
So I could see a little bit, have a little bit of light perception,
Hmm.
but I my phone's ringing. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I put my phone on do not disturb. Sorry about that, folks. Um, so my perspective on that, 'cause I talk to my wife about this all the time because I tell her about going to a store or like one time we went to a concert,
Hmm.
and before I used to love that, I love live music, but we went. It was really loud. I
Hmm.
couldn't see, and I started freaking out. And so I told her, "You know what? We have to go." She says, "Why?" I go, "Babe, I can't see and I can't hear." And I didn't feel real comfortable because I don't know what's around me. I don't know my environment, especially if it's new. It's very for me.
Nerve
I like
wracking.
to see if I go to a new place, I'm nervous. Like you remember how you said, Pedro, your hands get sweaty, and my wife
Yeah.
notices right away. But because I don't know the area, I don't know what's around me or who's around me. So in a way,
Well,
Miss Monica, you're not in the wrong. It's just you have to you used to use your vision like me. Now that's taken away in a sense, and you can't just depend on that no more, right? And somebody's talking, or you don't know somebody's talking to you, right?
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
weird. I know.
Well, yeah. In the concert, George, like how you were saying, um, when I can't see it, then it's super loud, and then since it's like a stadium or whatever it may be, it sounds all echoey with the sound and the music. I get I get overwhelmed. I'll be like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
it's too loud. It's like too loud, and I could hear
It's
all that.
overwhelming. I totally get that, Pedro.
Yeah, and what I do, I take cotton or I get napkins and I cut them up and put them in my eardrums, like, and then I could hear the people next to me talk to me and stuff. You know what I mean? And it
No,
cuts
you
off.
can't, Pedro. It's like,
Okay.
no, no, no. I'm saying, and I feel bad for him because I always forget, and so I always see him sticking napkins in his ears and stuff because we forget the cotton, whatever. But then he can't hear. But he said it's too loud, so it throws him off and it makes him nervous and gets him confused.
Well, for
What?
me, like yesterday, we went to go see the dogs at the animal shelter, and they were
Hmm.
barking, guys. I mean, so loud, my right ear was whistling like. I told my wife, you know
Really?
what, we need to get out, even though it was outside. But I need to get away from this area because I'm getting nervous because you're talking to me and the lady from the animal shelter is talking to us. I can't hear, I can't see her lips. If I could do that,
Hmm.
so I'm like, you know what, I need to bounce. And she's
Hmm.
like, you know what, just relax. And I'm like, but it's weird, right? Because before I'm like, I don't care, it was loud now. But now that I can't see and I can't hear, it's just a weird place to be in. It really is.
Yeah, but
Well,
even myself, even though that it bothers me, even you see other people, sighted people that use the little they're not headphones but the ear muffs to cover their ear and stuff like that, because you see those people, they're either producers or composers or mixers, engineers in that sense, because it's good to cover your ears in those situations, because if you're doing some type of mixing or editing and stuff and you need to hear, you don't want to damage your ears, and that's a good thing to take in heart, because if we're gonna go completely blind, you want to kind of save your hearing too. You don't want to damage the hearing too, because that's something we're gonna depend on. And also, as I think I gone completely blind, I could hear a little better in some higher frequencies. So when you say you heard that ringing, that's the high pitch from the barks that you're hearing ring in your ear, because you're concentrating and you listen, and you concentrate and listen to something than just hearing something. Are you get what I'm trying to say, George? Oh, he probably fell off. but
no, I think he's still on there,
okay.
but
But
maybe he's on mute or something.
yeah,
No,
but
I was just saying because, for
mhm.
example, the Halloween party, right, that we just had. One of my friends went, and he's never really walked around the hall, so he really didn't know the how it was set up and stuff. So when he got in there, he was there for a few minutes, and I couldn't sit there and talk to him because I was busy. But about 20 minutes late, maybe not even 20 minutes, he's all, I'm leaving. And I'm all like, what? I'm all, what's wrong? He's all, I can't even hear. And he got like all mad, but like I was like, oh shoot, I'm sorry, but I guess, he couldn't see the floor, and then he couldn't hear, so he started, I guess, getting nervous. So he's all, I'm going back to where I started at, which was at the bar. He's all, because at least I know that area. But I'm all, are you okay? Are you having a good time? And he's like, no, I had a good time. It was just I couldn't hear, and it was throwing me off. And I'm all, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that hall was echoey, and to a blind person, all those echoes coming back and forth, the music, yeah, it gets daunting. Even for me, I was having little problems, but that's when I had to really get my cane, and rely on my cane and use it different multiple ways. Like, I had it vertical when I'm trying to go through these tables and stuff like that, and I didn't let go of my cane at all. I needed my cane, the echo-ness from the hall being as big as it was in the Spooky Night event. I needed to concentrate, and my hearing was not all there, because it's a lot of echoes, a lot of voices, everybody speaking. So I needed to rely on my cane extensively that night.
Did it bother you, Britt?
I mean, the spooky night, it did give me anxiety. I think I mentioned this before because I was on stage, so I couldn't tell what was going on around me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really know. And then I was right by the speaker, so I really, really, really didn't hear anything. And if anybody wanted something from me, they literally had to like tap me, and be like, "Hey, turn down the music or give me the mic or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a question. How could we make the next Blind United event more blind friendly? Because I mean, honestly, it was mostly just blind people there. And if you're not having a good time as a blind person, that just makes me feel like crap?
Um, well, I mean, for example, my friend, he stood in the bar for a while and then he didn't come till like we were about to serve dinner. So that was like an hour, whatever. Um, I don't know, maybe the music, not have it so loud. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to say because I have sight. So I still could see what's going on. Not very details. I mean, I don't see details, but I still am able to see like people walking around, whatever. So what do you guys think, being as a totally blind person, what could we improve?
Oh, I have some ideas.
Do you think the music interfered with people or
Yes, yes, and no.
okay,
The music was not super high, but the music was my anchor to where I knew where the stage was.
okay.
Okay. Um, and we could talk about this in the meeting and stuff and get into
Yeah, yeah,
extensive
but I was
stuff
just saying
later in the
for
behind the scenes. But I think when it comes to a blind event, the position of the tables, having a straight shot, if we had a straight shot in from the back entrance straight into the door, have that area open,
hmm
people I think could have got to the bar. We just would have explained it to them. Once you get out your table, hit a left, and you go head to the bar or out to the back. You take a left or a right. But we set it up a table by that back entrance. We set up that anyone trying to go to that back table was gonna, I mean, that back door was not gonna be able to get through there. They would have to go around and go around the stage, go to the other side of the hall, and then go out the back. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people don't want to, they don't want to leave out the front through the bar. You know what I mean? They probably have the cards or whatever it may be in the outer side. I'd rather go out the back door, go all the way around, and get to the front of the bar and cut through all that bodies right there. You know what I mean?
Well, that's that. Not to cut you off, but that's a good idea, Pedro. I don't know if we keep it the same the way we set up the the hall this time. I know, Britt, you couldn't see, but it was 4 rows of tables, and it was 2 tables each. So there was a total of 8 tables,
Okay.
and then between the tables and the stage was room for dancing or them playing the games. So maybe for the next event, which is December 28th, we're having a sneaker ball, semi formal. Just save the date. Anybody who's interested, get with Blind United. Maybe then we could maybe describe the layout. That's a good idea because I didn't think about it.
Mhm.
Maybe
We
if
need to.
yeah, maybe if we tell people because that way they know how the tables are set up and then what's around them. So maybe that's something that we could keep in mind. So it could be a better event.
Like that, people feel more independent to go get their
Yeah.
drinks and things like that. So things to think about, guys. Because we do plan these events. Even if
Mhm.
you plan your events, even if you're sighted, and you might have people coming that are completely blind, or you are hosting something for, let's say, our community or something like that. Good things to know is don't make the layout complicated, make it basic and maybe explain to the blind folks on how to navigate that area,
No,
you
I feel
know.
like it wasn't. I mean, I don't know if we should or shouldn't talk about this on air, but I don't think that it was very blind friendly at all. The way we had things set up, like for example, you had a fog machine that was like by the stage, and for people that were using the stage as an anchor, they were like running into it. You know what I mean? Like Ed almost ran into it, a few other people almost ran into it because they heard the speaker and they kind of just assume like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go towards, the speaker, and I'm, whatever, gonna be near where the stage is. Or like when we
Well,
played like
people was
musical.
they were standing in front of it, so the smoke was hitting them, and I think they didn't notice, and we had to keep telling them, be
Yeah,
like, "Look,
exactly. That's my whole point. Like, I don't think
yeah,
for blind people that probably wasn't a very good idea. Like, that's what I was trying to say.
Hmm.
yeah," and we could place it at a better place, because we do sometimes have visual people. But yeah, some people they were just standing and the smoke all hitting them. We're like, hey, you're standing, and I know they didn't notice, and they're like, oh, my bad. I'm like, yeah, we don't really want your stuff getting messed up, or whatever it might happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but we made it a little. We gotta see what we could do and make a layout. I think basically what the layout was, you could say 2 rows and 2 columns. So just 2 table per row, you know. Well, four
Okay,
rows
4 rows.
and 2 tables. So it's
Hmm.
4 rows and 2 columns. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. And sometimes we do need to prompt people, put your chairs in and things like that too. Sometimes people forget that there's other blind folks and you need to put in your chair, and this just to cause from people bumping into chairs or tripping. We just want to be safe and stuff like that. But yeah, explaining the layout, leaving a path to to the entrance and to the back entrance. I think that's a path that we do need to keep empty right there, so
Hmm.
people can just walk through and not have to navigate through. Because every time I walk through there, I have to navigate through these chairs and things like that. And thank God I had my cane, and my cane skills came in handy in that day. But yes, it was a lot of chairs out, and I believe that area that goes straight into the bar, the entrance or the exit, should have been somewhat wider and empty, so people can just walk and be like, okay, this is the little walkway, you know. But there's always room for improvement, things like that,
Hmm.
And I'm asking, it's time for there's room for improvement, and then the A lady over here's, oh, I can't answer that. The
Well,
one that
And I
needs
well,
think
the one
too
in
improvement.
that
December.
space is just big. Like that room, it's like a big
Yes, it
it's a
is.
big hall, And I
Uh,
Hmm.
know for me as a blind person, like wide open space like that is kind of overwhelming, especially an echoey space.
Yes, and that's the thing, that trying to cut back on that echo, it would need flooring, like carpet flooring, like roll up carpet, put other things up to cut from the echo. It's all that echo that makes it overwhelming sometimes, I believe, for some, you know. Even for myself, sometimes it becomes like, oh man, just hearing it, it gets me sleepy, and because even in speech, you could be hearing a speech and you're hearing all that echo, you're hearing the speech and the echo, and you're like, oh man, wow. And sometimes, like in church, right? When they talk in church, and I used to go to the church in Spanish, I couldn't understand nothing. Everything was so echo, and I'm like, you want people to speak in here, but y'all made these churches so echoey, and then I used to be like, whoa, I don't even know what they're saying.
I'm back.
Hmm.
Sorry, I got the call from the state. They're going, what happened to my customer. But anyway, you know what's funny you say that, Pedro? There's a library here. A lot of the times the city council people use this particular library because it's pretty big, the room. But the acoustics, I'm not lying to you. They just like 5 feet away from me talking. I'm like, what the heck are they saying? So echoey, so weird. The acoustics. And I even turned to my wife. I was like, is it me? She was, no. You have a hard time hearing it because the way it is. How weird, right?
It's the acoustics. Even in churches, like these 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 uh these churches, I don't know how it was, but if you think about it, if you want to talk and get your word out, it's a bad place to actually speak because of the ambience and everything, like the echo-ness, and people are just gonna be like, so every time you leave church and it's all like that, you're like, oh, it feels good out here.
I went to church yesterday.
But
Church
you was
chicken.
able to hear your sermon, right? It was,
No, I went to church's chicken.
whoo, hey, 12 pieces for what? Eleven ninety
You know
nine or
what?
something.
Hey, chicken guys. Lord, I don't know if they're importing them from.
Wherever.
Man, like $32 for a 16 piece was a. I'm like, wow, what the heck, man? I thought chicken was the cheapest part of the. But it's expensive. $16.
Ooh,
$13
the
for
wrap it up
chicken.
music. All
I know,
right,
man.
guys.
I just got to the party,
Thank
man.
you for
You just got
coming.
to the party.
Jeez.
But yeah, just to say, go Dodgers are World Series winners out here in LA. The
You know what,
Dodgers,
Pedro? When my
Mm.
my grandma was her soul when she was married, when she was alive, especially in the playoffs, if the Dodgers were in the playoffs, and or even worse, the World Series, hey, you ain't having no dinner. You have to go out and get it because my grandma's sitting in front of that couch and forget about it.
Wow.
Shout out to your grandma.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
must
my
be
grandma's
Well,
smiling
happy.
it's
right
been
now.
a
That's for sure.
celebration all weekend long out here in Los Angeles. I know they just, maybe you guys could talk about it tomorrow. They have a mural they just made for Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh, that was
60,
my grandma's favorite picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
65 feet
Oh
by
wow.
65 feet.
Ah, carajo.
Yeah,
He was a
so
good
it's very
Mexican.
big. Maybe, like I said, you guys could talk about it tomorrow because it's like everybody's wanting to go over there and look at
How's
it.
the celebration so far? Has it been behaving or no?
Mhm. So far, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Well,
It's just the
not the
first
day they
night.
won, no. They
Oh,
I
that's what I
heard the
heard
day that
about.
they won, they burnt a bus, didn't they?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they broke into a Nike store and yeah.
A Nike store?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have jumped into a Gucci store or something. Nike.
How
They had
about
to
a
be
Tesla
Mexicans.
store, George? How about a Tesla store?
They had to be Mexicans. Mira, vamos a ese Nike.
Puro
Mhm.
Nike, eh? But yeah, the mural is pretty big, and it's a 3-parter mural, guys. We could talk a little bit about it. It's a
Tomorrow.
3-part mural that you couldn't even interact with it with your phone. You put your
Oh,
phone
wow.
into it, and you could see him pitching.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Really? That is so cool.
Yeah, so
All right.
it's an
Now, he was
interactive mural.
a good pitcher, no matter what. I mean, because if he wasn't a typical pitcher body, if you want to say that, he was chubby but he
Yeah.
was a good pitcher. He was.
Mm-hmm.
There was Fernando Mania back in the 80s, they said,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those
Mm.
days. You remember?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
old like me. You remember those days. Well, I didn't mean to say that, but you know what I mean. At the same
My
age.
friend went to the memorial yesterday they had, and she said it was amazing. She said it was so good.
He was young when he passed, so maybe
Mhm.
they were saying that he was doing a broadcast last month. Now all of a sudden he just walked away from the mic, and they say that maybe that was the start of it, whatever he
Mhm.
was going through. What is it though?
Okay.
I know my
Yeah.
friend is installs the cable and all that, and he said he went to his house to Fernando's one time, and he had a yellow Corvette.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right.
Well, it was
So,
good joining you guys today.
That was cool. Yeah, Miss
Everybody
Monica,
has a
Miss
good
Barrett.
day.
All righty. Thank you, guys. It's been fun.
any
It's
last
been real,
words
guys.
before?
Bye.
Hey, don't
Bye.
forget
Sure,
to
go
vote
out-
tomorrow,
be sure-
you guys.
Yeah, go out there and vote and
Go out there and vote tomorrow. It's a big day for voting, so don't forget to vote.
so if it goes south on Tuesday, I'll be in in Venezuela or Mexico by Wednesday. So
You're gonna gather people up. But that aside, go vote, guys. Make your voice known. Also, come join us today. We have our interest group, support group with Dominic. Very, very insightful. Very has you thinking. He always brings good subjects and has good material after his Zoom group class. He has good resources and always one of our popular classes there, and he does a great job. So shout out to Dominic, so come join us. And if you would like to know more of our Zoom interest groups, info at blindunited.org, guys. Once again, that's info at blindunited.org. For those listening on Facebook or YouTube, like, subscribe, follow, share. It helps, guys. Let's get this thing going. You know what I mean? Coffee time. Everybody can enjoy some coffee, some tea, whatever. Come hang out with us.
Bye.
buenos días.